Is there a chance we could see hippos in Eternum in 2023?
No. Hi everybody, welcome to Forged in Eternum, where we talk about all things New World. Today is our first Q&A in 2023. I'm pretty excited. Dave and Katie are joining us. And of course, Mr. Lovin's going to be asking the questions from behind the camera. Be gentle and let's go.
I would love to know why the most hot topics, problems of the game are either left behind or worked so late that the wave of angry and unsatisfied players is already washed away.
Yeah, it's tough because that's certainly not the goal. As a team, we're always all over the forums. We're trying to be as transparent as we can. We're in Reddit. We're in all of the different social media places getting feedback. So we try to get to the problems that we think are the most important and bubbling up. And I think it's important for people to realize that what might be really important for someone is not as important for someone else, but then someone else has something else that's different. So our job is to try to get through those and figure out what is the most important. And then the other reality is some things just take longer than others. And so while it may feel like we're not paying attention to something, in a lot of cases we are, but we don't want to talk about it and say, hey, we're working on this thing that's going to take 3 months. And it sounds almost disingenuous when we do that. So what we try to do is give you as much detail about what we're working on now as we can without making promises that we don't believe we can hit.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to be super communicative. And we have weekly meetings multiple times a week where we are bringing together our customer support folks, our community folks, our devs, our really highly invested in the game devs who are the 1% completionists, wild animals. And we bring together all of these people multiple times a week to make sure that what we're focusing on for fixes are the right things to focus on. And as Scott said, some things just take a little bit longer than other things, or take a lot longer than other things because they're design changes and they're not just bug fixes. So that's something that we also have to take into consideration. But we'll definitely try to be more communicative, or as communicative as we can be.
Could you please provide some insight on how the team deals with botting in the game?
Yeah, so bots are nemesis, Neshatun and bots. So bots are a very complex issue, and there's something that we do, again, talk about multiple times a week. We have a review with our tech folks. We have a review with people who are putting in more telemetry, are able to detect bots. We take player reports, but we have to walk this fine line of who we're actually putting strikes against and bans against, because there are, and this is a lesson if you go back to many, many videos ago, we thought that some people were bots and they were actually people. They were just so good at what they were doing that they mimicked bots. So we have to try to walk this fine line of the player reports that are coming in, how many of those reports are coming in at different times, not just all at the same time, right? So we need multiple points of contact. We also need to actually have telemetry, which I'm not going to give anything away because I don't want people who create bot scripts to learn what we're doing. That's also part of this. So another reason why we don't talk too much online about, or in writing or in these videos about what we're doing with bots, because we don't want them learning what we're up to next to try to combat them.
It's hard though. Our security team is constantly working toward this and chasing it and tracking it. And I'm really proud of the work they've done, because I feel like we're in a much better spot bot-wise than we were a year ago. And it's continuously getting better. And I personally I don't see them nearly as much as I used to in the game. And I know I play on 1 or 2 servers versus the overall set we have. But there's a lot of effort that goes toward this, and I think we're making pretty good progress.
We totally are. Yeah. And we're still going to keep doing it, right? Bots be bottin', and we be combatin'.
Yeah, security work never ends. Just constantly changes, evolves, and changes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Will the dev team make further rollback changes to armor type, light, medium, heavy? Are they looking at the feedback from previous changes?
Yeah, so I think equip load in our game and the balance between equip load is something that has, evolved over time. If you remember, heavy meta was the thing, at the start of the game. Obviously now we're in a totally light meta era. We are definitely aware of it. We are going to be making some changes, and in fact, they're coming very soon to a PTR near you. We're going to be making some changes, and the main gist of it is right now, the idea is that light armor needs to be strong, like do a lot of damage. But the thing is, you can be in light armor, do all that damage, and still feel relatively safe due to certain perks and things like that. So that's really what we're going to tackle. We're going to try to make you have to take that risk. If you want the extra damage from light, you're going to have to be able to take some risks. So some of those perks are now going to be based on the armor of the character. So things like Resilient or Shirking Fort will be less strong if you're wearing light armor.
Will you address why we cannot have blue healing, Oblivion, Ice Storms during PvP in Wars?
Sure. On that very same PTR Dave's referring to, we will, and you'll be able to play it, and we're so excited for this. It's one of the features we've been wanting to do for a while, and I think it's going to change the way war goes for a lot of people, and it's going to change a lot of
OPR.
PvP,
is
OPR,
awesome.
yeah.
It's going to be great.
It's huge, and very excited for this change to come in. We've already been playing it internally, and it feels really good.
It's also a good plug for the PTR, which is the public test realm, for anybody who's hearing that word for the first time, that when that does come up and we do announce those changes, which we do publicly ahead of the download, that you should hop on, and we'll try to get our community team to run some wars so that you can try it out. They're usually happy to do that. It's just us that need to get it together, and so we will get it together so we can get that tested. But
Yeah,
for sure, join the PTR.
And we'd love feedback on it, right? It takes a lot of people to test war and OPR, and so like as you're playing it, if you see problems, let us know.
Yep.
Roadmap seems to be extremely PvE-centric. Is this the direction that the game plans to take continuing forward? Out of the 9 planned content in the roadmap, only 1 is PvP-focused, cross-server OPR, and that happens to be a quality of life feature.
Yeah, so when we say 9 planned, it's 9 announced. There's a lot of work going on in the game. So to answer the question really directly, no, the direction is not we're just a PvE game. We have a lot of conviction around supporting our PvP players. And there is significant work in 2023 going toward that. I'm not going to get super specific right now. We will in about a month, though. We'll have a lot more to share on it. And like I said, we just mentioned a PvP feature that's going to show up on the PTR. I wouldn't be surprised to see more over the next several months.
Yeah, and the combat balance changes we talked about, that was the equip load is one, but there's a number of them, and it's going to dramatically affect PvP. Things like the musket will likely be in our sites also.
The musket.
Yes.
Oh, the musket. Yeah,
so
yeah,
it will
yeah.
be in our sites, so to speak.
Wow, that was good, Dave. How long have you been working on that one?
Well, speaking of that, does AGS see 80% of forum posts about musket and greatswords? Any plans for some balance? Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, we do see it, and I think the musket. We did try to take action in December with our changes to the damage fall off. It obviously did not achieve the result we wanted. We're aware of that. We are going to be taking some more drastic measures in the upcoming PTR again. The 2 main things we're going to be doing is, one, we're going to be looking at the accuracy of it and how that works and sort of the gameplay around that. I think it'll require players to become a little more in aim to hit their shots. So I think that'll
stationary.
A little more stationary. So that'll be big. The other thing is, I think mortal empowerment, if you're not familiar with it, is another big cascading factor.
Button item right there.
So it would not surprise me to see some nerfs to that perk in combination with the changes to the musket.
Yeah, and I think it hurt the musket. We made a few mistakes and an exploit got stuck in that only really affected the musket, so it exaggerated a situation that already wasn't great, which is, apologies for that, and we're going to be more careful going forward.
Can you discuss how customer support works for New World and the best way to achieve results or actually contact someone at AGS that can help with in-game issues?
Yeah, so in-game issues, that's kind of broad, but essentially anything where you maybe you didn't receive something that you purchased, or you're having an issue with a server transfer or anything like that that's kind of a technical thing, you'll want to contact customer support. Anything that's feedback or anything where you have some time to wait for maybe a dev to respond or a community manager to respond, go to the forums. That's where, if you reach some point where you think that there's a better option for a quest, right? Or you think that something maybe is boring, or you think something's really fun and you want us to double down on that, that's where you go. You go to the forums. If it's something where you're in a specific spot in the world and there's a problem right there, do the in-game reports. Those tell us exactly where you're located. They give us system information. It gives us a lot of really detailed information that's unfortunately no longer available to players, like your XYZ coordinates. We'll still get those. That was part of our anti-bot initiative. But those are the 3 different paths that you're going to want to take, and they do work. If there's some issue with that, again, like, go to the forums, leave feedback there for our community managers, and they are really quick about getting that feedback to us. So if there's something that needs to be done quickly, that's the way to do it.
Can we get more info on the future revamps of zones? We know Brightwood and I think Weaver's Fen are next, but other than that, we don't know anything about it.
Yes. So by the end of the year, our plan is to have the entire 1 through 60 Tempest storyline completed. That may not hit all of the zones, but the storyline and that quest line is going to be all there. And I think it's, I can say that with high confidence.
Awesome. Are there any plans to revamp the portals to provide rewards outside of shards and gypsum? Could it possibly reward us with umbrals?
I don't want to talk exactly about what the exact rewards are, but I think we still really like the breaches. And I think what we're planning to do is make them feel like a little more of an event. Right, so what we'll probably do is reduce the frequency of them, reduce the amount of them, but when they happen, I think they'll be very rewarding. And I think that's sort of the general direction we're going with them.
And have you considered separating weapon stats for PvP and PvE? Right now, it's not working trying to balance for both when a lot of PvP changes make weapons bad for PvE, like what's happened with the Fire Staff. Separating stats could mean weapons being actually good for PvE, and more frequent PvP balance changes to prevent a stagnant meta without affecting PvE.
Very pointed question, but a good one. Yes, it's super difficult to balance, obviously, PvE and PvP together. It's something we're working on, and we actually do have some tools already in our tool belt, right? Like things like Resilient are PvP only. We have the Banes, which are PvE only. And I think we're going to be digging into those even more as a first attempt at this. I think the perfect example is, I think a lot of people say, hey, ranged weapons aren't viable in high-level content, PvE content, like mutators or things like that. And there's some truth to that. I think one of the things we're going to be trying out, again in the PTR, please come try it out, is making the Banes for ranged weapons even more powerful as a way to sort of amp up the viability of those weapons. That, and we'll also be removing those elemental resistances from the mutations, which really hurt the Ice and Fire Staff users. So I think that's step one, and I think this is a hard problem. It's something we're looking at. We're going to continue to investigate. I think we are going to we're moving more and more to a world where we separate them, but I think doing that in a holistic manner is going to take a while. But these are steps in the right direction, I think.
But I think a statement for the community is we agree with you that something needs to be done here, for sure. And if you wonder why I keep looking down, a dog keeps running into my legs down. Yes, this dog.
Can you zoom out to the dog? Is that possible? We need context. Oh, yeah.
Give some context here.
We need some context. Chuck is on it.
Amazon has a dogs at work policy where you get to bring your dog, your well-behaved dog, into work, and it's one of the most amazing things. I'm so glad we do it.
And Finn is Finn is a very well-behaved, very cool dog.
Is there a chance we could see hippos in Eternum in 2023?
No. No. Hippos are, I think, I've seen all the people talking about hippos, and I think that it makes there's something really fun about seeing it, but I think that it needs the right environment. I would be more inclined for something of the simian family or something like that to enter first. But at some point, I think we will have hippos in the game. I just don't know when, and I'm not going to give a year.
I'm going to cut the video just to we'll have hippos in the game, like you just said.
You got it. I'm on it. Okay, that's it.
Well, that does it for today's episode. We're going to do another one of these shortly after the next dev update video comes out, and I think Katie had a farewell message.
Make sure to like and subscribe to the Forged in Eternum series. We love seeing you guys, and we hope you love seeing us.
Where was your that you did last time?
Sniper. This is cool
musket.
when you do this.
Yeah.
No, this is not a musket.
I'm just going to keep it all in there. Okay.